All right, let's get right into it. We're going to tackle a really challenging idea today, one that's all about wealth, family, and what we actually leave behind. This whole explainer is going to unpack a philosophy that pretty much turns everything you thought you knew about inheritance on its head.
So right off the bat, it hits you with this super personal, kind of provocative question. It's a question that really challenges a core belief for so many parents. It makes you ask yourself, is the act of giving my kids everything actually taking away something crucial from them?
And boom, here's the core claim, and it is stark. The whole argument here is that unearned wealth, well, it can act like a poison. It just strips away the struggle, that drive, the need to go out and figure out your own purpose. And if you take that away, are they even really living their own life?
All right, so first, let's really dig into this on a personal level. We're talking about the idea that a traditional inheritance isn't a gift at all, but actually something that could seriously damage the next generation's potential.
So from this perspective, a parent's true job, it isn't about providing financial security. It's about guidance. It's about empowering your kids to figure out who they are and what they're meant to do. But a huge inheritance, that can completely sabotage the whole journey. It makes that search for meaning feel optional, not something that's absolutely essential to life.
Okay, so we've talked about the personal side. Now the philosophy zooms out, way out, and reframes the entire concept of wealth. We're moving beyond just family dynamics now. This is about our basic role in society.
The argument is that the way we think about ownership is just old-fashioned. That money you think of as yours, this philosophy says, nope, that's actually a societal resource. It's a total paradigm shift, right? We're going from, this is my personal property, to, this is a shared national asset that I'm just looking after for a little while.
And here's the kicker. The point is, no one gets rich all by themselves, right? It takes employees, roads, laws, the whole social fabric. So the person who racks up all that wealth, they're not really the owner. They're more like a temporary caretaker, a steward. And what's really fascinating is the claim that this mindset could bridge the gap between capitalism and communism. How? Well, it respects the individual's effort in creating wealth, that's the capitalist part, but it insists that the wealth ultimately has to serve everyone, the collective, which is a core idea in communism.
All right, if you thought that was a big leap, get ready. Because now, the argument zooms out even further. We're connecting our money decisions, here on Earth, to the journey of our soul after we die. Yeah, the stakes just went from financial and societal to, well, spiritual.
So according to this line of thinking, our main mission in life isn't to pile up a bunch of stuff. It's about spiritual refinement. Our time here, these 100 or so years we get, it's our one shot to clean up our spiritual act, our karma, and get our soul ready for whatever comes next.
And check this out. It lays out a pretty clear choice. 2 paths for the soul. Basically, our actions, especially how we handle our money and resources, directly decide our soul's fate. If you live your purpose correctly, your soul becomes light, and it can ascend to, well, a heavenly realm. But if you fail, if you don't live your purpose, or worse, you help someone else fail theirs, your soul becomes heavy, and it's stuck wandering the earth.
This leads to a really interesting twist. This idea of shared spiritual consequences. It's not enough to have good intentions. Think about it. If you give away wealth, and the person who gets it misuses it, and that causes them to fail their life's purpose, then you're basically a partner in crime. You both share the karmic punishment.
Okay, so we've laid all this groundwork, right? The personal, the societal, the spiritual. So what's the solution? Well, now we get to the proposed new model for succession, and it's a radical one that puts purpose above everything else. So who is the true heir? It's not your kid, necessarily. It's a disciple. And a disciple isn't about blood relation. It's about who best understands your highest ideals, your ideology. It's the one person who truly gets what you are trying to do and can actually carry that work forward. So here's how this new order of inheritance would actually work. Step 1. You have to find a disciple. You search for that true ideological heir. And hey, you should definitely start by looking at your own children. But, and this is the crucial part, if none of them make the cut, if no one qualifies, the wealth doesn't just get split up between them. Nope. It goes back to the state, to the nation. The family, they get a small honorarium, kind of like a thank you for their contribution. But it's not the fortune.
Okay, so let's wrap our heads around this. What does this all mean for the way we think about legacy? I mean, if it's not about handing down a pile of cash, then what is it we're actually trying to build and leave behind?
Here's the bottom line.
The ultimate inheritance you're trying to lock down, it's not for your family. It's for the fate of your own soul. The idea is that every single financial choice you make is also a spiritual choice. Managing your wealth responsibly, making sure it gets used for a higher purpose, whether by a true disciple or by society as a whole, that's the key. That's how you fulfill your own life's mission and secure a good outcome for your soul.
And so this all leaves us with one last pretty intense question, one that turns this whole philosophy right back on you. Forget about the money and the assets for a second. What is the true legacy you're building? What's the purpose, the ideal, the spiritual inheritance you're actually working to leave behind?